Update. My sister 18 female was sleeping with my oldest sister's 24 female husband 32 male. Original story. Help please. I have two sisters, 18 to 24, and I overheard my one sister talking and flirting to my other sister's husband and insinuating that they hooked up or were going to hook up. Okay, hi everyone. First of all, I'm sorry if this is something that seems obvious, but I don't always know the right thing to do or react to things. I usually say or do the wrong things that always make things worse, so I'm really sorry. I would text my friends about this, but our lake house doesn't have any cell service or Wi-Fi, just a computer connected to the internet, so here I am. I'm 14 female and on a vacation with my family. I have two sisters. Abby is 18 female and Claire is 24 female, who is married to John, who is 32 male. Last night, Claire wasn't feeling well, so she went to bed early. My parents went to bed not long after that, so it was just me, Abby, and John. They were sitting on a sofa together while I was on a recliner, and they were both drinking. Eventually, I started to kind of fall asleep, but I wasn't totally out, and they start kind of whispering to each other. John is telling her how pretty and beautiful she is, and then they start talking about something he had bought her. And then he started saying stuff like he wanted to be with her and stuff. Guess they thought I was sleeping and couldn't hear them, but they didn't stay in the living room much longer. Anyway, I know I should tell Abby, but I don't know what to say. I'm also worried. We're supposed to be here for another 4 days, and it's going to be so weird. I also still have to live with Abby, and she's already mean to me and does messed up stuff. So I'm really worried what she's going to do if I tell. Because obviously she's going to know it was me, and that I overheard. Plus, I'm worried she'll just call me a liar, and then everyone will get mad at me. What do I do? What do I say? I'm so sorry. I know I should probably already know what to say, and I guess this is a dumb post. I'm just so worried about saying the wrong thing. I don't want my family to hate me. I don't know if I explained everything right, so I'll answer any questions if I didn't. Thanks a lot for your time, everyone. Now for the top advice before reading the update. Gather up your family and tell them what happened. All of them, and explain what happened. Including Abby and John? Should they be there too? Yes, they should, because you all need to talk. Also, having your parents there is good, so you have people to protect you. Gather up everyone and explain it to them calmly and stick to the facts. I don't know how my parents will react to this. I hope they'd protect me. When this all goes south, you do not want to be the one who knew and didn't say anything. Let them all know. Let the cheats know what you heard, and that you have to tell your older sister and let her know. Just time it so they don't have time to come up with a good flip. In this case, you might let your parents know first. They might understand what you're going through and give you a bit of strength and backup. But you do have to let your older sister know at minimum. I would add to this, don't tell any of them one-on-one. I would advise telling your parents first, and confronting your sister and husband with your parents to back you up. People who are scared of being discovered are unpredictable, and the husband or even your sister may try to hurt you if you corner them alone. I'm sorry you're in this position. This is one hell of a minefield you're in, little cousin. Were you able to record anything at all? If you can't be upfront with your elder sister, find a covert way to tell her and let her figure out the rest. No, I didn't record anything. And I don't know how to do that. What would I say to be covert? I'm really bad at this. This isn't something anybody is good at, unless you're a trained private investigator. Does your sister know all your friends' numbers? I'd send sister a text from your friend's or boyfriend's phone. Something one step removed so it's harder to tie it to you. But you probably need to do it face-to-face with both parents there. I hope your dad isn't crazy. Face-to-face lets them see in your face that you're serious. All you really have is speculation right now, though. And now for the update. Hi everyone. So I, 14 female, had a post here where I basically asked for advice about a situation I overheard between my sister Abby, 18 female, and my older sister Claire's 24 female husband, 32 male. Basically, they thought I was sleeping and started flirting and talking about sleeping together. I told my oldest sister and my parents, and they freaked out, and it made a whole huge fight. Which I feel bad about because I ruined everyone's vacation, but I think my oldest sister needed to know. It ended up that John was sleeping with Abby for probably a while, and my parents were so pissed. I thought they'd be pissed at me too, but they weren't. So they kicked Abby out, like legit. My mom, she's crazy, threw all of her clothes out of the house and told her to get the hell out and not bother coming back home. Claire lost her mind on John, and he called her all kinds of bad names, and him and my dad almost got into a fist fight. But he left too, and I don't know where him or Abby are staying. My sister is a mess, and I think she's definitely going to break up with John. I'm sad that what I said blew everything up. But I guess I'm glad my sister knows now, because that wasn't fair to her what was going on. I can't believe they were just talking about it in front of me. I really wish I just hadn't heard anything. So that's the update, and it sucks, and I feel really bad. Thanks to everyone who commented though. An affair with your 18-year-old just now of age sister possibly went on for a while. Han, call the police. John is a cop. That's even worse. Dude is a cop and is sleeping with a girl barely out of high school? You did the right thing telling your sister. I feel really, really bad about all the drama I caused, but I feel like it would have been worse if I didn't. You didn't cause the drama. Your sister and brother-in-law did by being crappy. You just exposed their crappiness. Yeah, I guess you're right. Tell your sister it's not her fault. She didn't know she married a sleaze. I don't know when your sister turned 18, but a 32-year-old cop being intimate with a teenager screams predator to me. Don't get me wrong, your sister messed up, but I also doubt it was her idea. How long were they together, and how long had he been sleeping with the 18-year-old? Was she groomed? John is a gigantic dirtbag. I don't know. I don't know a lot about it, just kind of what it is, but probably for at least a year, unfortunately. I'm a bit worried about Abby. I get the feeling John may have groomed her. She's only 18. You got the impression that this has been going on for a while. He talked about buying her things. He's both older and an authority figure as a cop. I get your mom and Claire being angry at her, but I think someone needs to find her and ask her some questions about this relationship. When did it start, how, etc. Given the ages involved, I feel like John may be a pred. My sister says it's been at least a year. Now for the last story. Update. My 16 female sisters, 23 female, husband 34 male, made weird comments about me that made me uncomfortable. I told mom, 47 female, and she said I'm acting jealous. Original story. Okay, so last night was my birthday. My sister and her husband, they got married a few months ago, came over to celebrate along with my parents and me and our little brother. My sister's husband was drinking a lot. We have a big backyard and we're all in the pool. At one point, my brother-in-law got a phone call, so he went inside to talk. My dad wanted to grill more burgers, so he asked me to go into the basement for more lighter fuel. My house is really big, but a lot of people don't realize that the vents are all connected and sound travels. So my brother-in-law was at the second floor bathroom, but I could hear him through the vent in the basement. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop, so I'm not sure how this conversation started. But then I overheard him say, "Yeah, I'm here for her birthday. You should see what she's wearing. It's insane." Then he described my bathing suit, said my body was so tight it makes him sick, and then said how it sucks. It was my 16th birthday. He was still talking, but I felt really weird and freaked out, so I ran out and went to my mom. I took her aside. She had been talking to my sister, and told her everything I had heard. After I was done, she literally rolled her eyes and said really loud, "Please, Asher, if you're going to make up stories, at least make them plausible." At this point, my brother-in-law was back outside, so I was really freaked out he was going to hear. But my mom kept saying stuff like, why would he look at a kid like that when he has my sister? How my sister is prettier anyway. And it's clear I've been jealous since they have gotten married. I got really upset and just left. I think I might have been crying, but as I'm going back in, my mom says super loudly to everyone how I need to pick to be dramatic or a liar, but I can't be both. My mom has always liked my sister more than me, but she's never been that mean. I feel like if I talk to my sister, she's just going to say I'm dramatic and jealous too, because that's what my mom said. Now for the top advice before reading the update. He is a perv and maybe a ped. How old was your sister when she got with him? I'm not sure. I know they met while she was in college. I think 19 or 20? Cool. He still is a weirdo and a perv. Keep a close eye on him. He seems like the type to force himself on you. Stay cautious. It's not surprising that with an age gap like that in their marriage, that her husband is already looking at someone younger than her. They don't believe you. So what you do is distance yourself as much as humanly possible from that scumbag. You should tell your sister too. Not for an I told you so moment possibly in the future, but so that she can't say you didn't warn her if he eventually leaves her or cheats on her with someone younger. Even if she says you're dramatic, you keep your distance and say you want absolutely nothing to do with him. Then have a conversation with your mother again. I know I'm young, but I need you to take me seriously. He made inappropriate comments and you don't have my back. If you really think I'm being dramatic, then I know I can't trust you and I really need you to have my back. Thanks for this advice. I think I'm going to tell my sister. I'm scared of her reaction. Look, the best thing to do is to stay far away from that creep. If you hear him saying something, record him if possible. He will probably text you or something when you turn 18. Take pictures and block him. You can use those pictures as proof for your mom and sister. Most likely he will cheat on your sister, and hopefully they will break up soon anyway. Tell your sister and dad if he is in the picture. They may not believe you, which will suck, but just tell them so they have it in the back of their head to think about, even if they don't believe you. Well, you 100% know that if anyone ever violates you, your mom will not be supportive. You need to start looking out for yourself today. Is it fair? No. Will it help you stay alive and not violated? Yes, but only help. If your brother-in-law is around, just do not go swimming or swim in a t-shirt and shorts. Avoid being in the room with him alone. When you go out with friends, put your safety first. It does not sound like you have family that will believe you or fight for you. You can't rely on them, but you can rely on yourself. Don't put yourself in dangerous situations. I wouldn't dwell on this. We all grow up with parents with faults. You are stronger than you think, and you don't owe anyone an explanation. Push comes to shove, your mom showed her true colors. And if she's not going to look out for you, who will? You. Now for the update. So the next day, I ended up telling my sister what I overheard her husband saying, and she flipped out. I guess this wasn't the first time he's talked about me. And last time, she confronted him about it, and he just brushed it off like he was just joking. He made her feel like she was weird for thinking these comments were weird. So I guess she confronted him about it. And he got really mad and was like, oh, that little witch was listening outside the door? And stuff like that. But then my sister was like, no. She heard you down in the basement through the vents. So then he was like, well, I was just saying she was pretty. So I don't know what's wrong with that. And my sister was like, WTF? This is the second time you've specifically talked about her body. Anyway, so right now she kicked him out. And he's staying with his brother because she's really creeped out by the whole situation. They don't have any kids or anything. So maybe if she decides to break up with him, it won't be that bad. I'm glad your sister had your back. I know. I am too. I was worried she was going to react the way my mom did. Super awful your mom reacted that way. Does your mom know what has happened since? Did she apologize to you? No, she didn't. I'm not sure if she knows. I haven't really talked to her since then as I've been staying away from her. I'm happy she had a common sense to call him out. I am too. I was worried she would think I was lying too. If you're comfortable talking about it, how does your mom feel about the situation now that your sister has taken your side? I hope she apologized to you. She hasn't. I've been avoiding her since it's happened, so we really haven't talked. I'm so glad your sister believed you. I just want you to know that none of this is on you, OP. You are a child. Do you know what I think when I see children in bathing suits? Damn, I wish they made adults bathers that cute. It is A, not normal to be sexualizing your significant other's sibling. B, not normal to be doing that to your significant other's underage sibling. And C, not okay ever to do that to a minor. The reason the onus is on adults is because we know better. Do not let your brother-in-law convince you he was innocent, because he's relying on those blurred lines to say, well, I didn't know she'd find it offensive. He knew. He knows. I'm so sorry you had to put up with this creep, and I'm so sorry your mom didn't believe you. Be safe, Opie. Thank you. Not only does he know what he's doing is creepy, it also what he did to OP's sister. For a 34-year-old man to be married to a 23-year-old woman, he had to have started dating her when she was barely more than a child. OP, this may not seem like as big a deal to you at 16, but when you're in your 30s, look back at 18 to 22 years old and tell me whether you think a man dating them is anything but gross and an abuse of power. OP, I'm so glad that your sister saw through him. I hope she gets a divorce because her husband is a creep. And it's appalling that your mother didn't support you on this front. While this isn't strictly your mother's fault, the fact that your mother is so willing to blame women for something objectively horrible that a man did is part of why her daughters have been vulnerable to your brother-in-law. Shame on her. Update. Am I the a-hole for me, 22 female, unplugging the internet when my boyfriend, 23 male, was playing a game? Original story. I had cooked a dinner for my boyfriend and I had called him several times. He didn't respond, so I was like, what the hell, and went to find him and bring his dinner to him. He was playing Call of Duty or Halo and said he didn't hear me. I was like, alright, here is your dinner. And then I handed it to him and he just looked at it and said, I didn't want mac and cheese, I said chicken nuggets and fries. I said, sorry, but if you had listened when I got back, you would have heard that the store was all out of nuggets. He then threw the plates with the food on it in a set of drawers. I said, seriously? What is wrong with you? And he just said he was annoyed because I just made him die in the game by distracting him. And he was already mad about having mac and cheese. I said, if that's gonna make you angry, you shouldn't be playing while eating. He just said whatever and carried on playing, so I went downstairs and turned the router off while I ate. He came storming down asking what the hell I had done. I said if you can listen to me, you shouldn't be playing games when I'm trying to do stuff. He said I can't turn the internet off because it pays for it, so I said he just wasted food. He says I should have told him they were out of nuggets, and waited for him to be done on the game instead of turning it off. I think he's being unreasonable, especially after he threw the plate. But his mom and my mom are siding with him. They say I shouldn't have turned the internet off, and I am thinking they're completely missing the point. So was I wrong to do that, or should I have done something different? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Everyone sucks here. Your son is being pretty immature and volatile, but as his mother, you're responsible for responding calmly and in a mature fashion so that he learns better behaviors. I don't know. I'd react more strongly than this to my 6-year-old son if he threw a plate of food I had made into the furniture. Obi just taking his toy away was pretty calm. Not today, Hull. Leave. Leave now. This is not going to get better. The fact that his mother and your mother are siding with him shows that he has been raised to believe this is acceptable behavior. He is disrespectful and rude. He places his game playing above real life. He has anger issues. He eats like a toddler. If you stay and end up having children with him, you will be struggling the whole time to get him away from the screen and helping you. You will expose your children to him blowing up at them for interrupting his games. Apologize and tell him he can game all weekend and you won't interrupt him at all. He'll be so busy he won't hear you as you pack your things into your car. Might not even notice you're gone till it's time for a diaper change. Dump him. He's throwing things. He's screaming. He's tattling on you to mommies. He's immature and he sounds utterly miserable to live with. I get him maybe being snappish for a second because he was focusing, but throwing things is never okay. It's a sign of someone who doesn't have their anger in check and frequently escalates into violence. A very soft everyone sucks here because you retaliated like that with a service that isn't yours. Don't provoke him, just dump him. Everyone sucks here. You eat like 5-year-olds. You fight like siblings. And then you run off and tell your respective moms? Grow up. He told our moms first. They both messaged me and asked why I did it, so I tried to explain and they were taking a side. Now for the update. Thank you to everyone that helped me see that what he did was really not right. I had wondered why my mom and his would side with him too. And after speaking with my mom, I found out he had been bad-mouthing me before this and had told her a different story to what really happened. He told her he had been at work all day and got home, and I was instantly aggressive and turned the internet off and said no games or food. I don't know why she would believe that, but whatever. He had been playing the game for 8 hours straight that day up to that point. Anyway, I left him and moved back with my mom. For now, I am in the process of moving all my belongings, but I have the most important stuff. He has been texting me, begging me to come back because he misses me, also because he can't cook. I saw McDonald's wrappers all over the floor when I went to get some of my clothes. He also posted a video to Facebook of his crying saying I took everything, and I am a witch. His mom is still siding with him. She has been harassing me in messages for mistreating her son. She says how dare I leave him. First, she tried to guilt trip me by saying how will he clean and cook by himself. And when that didn't work, she started threatening and sending abusive messages. I feel much better though. I didn't realize how much of a strain he had put upon me. So once again, thank you to everyone that helped me out. If you are so horrible and terrible to her baby boy, why is she mad that you left him? Other than the fact that I guess now she'll have to take care of him? Block him and his mother. Yeah, absolutely. I would text her, if I'm so terrible for your son, why are both of you hounding me to come back? And then block her. Edited to add, I think you would have gotten fewer everyone sucks hears if you had said in the original post that he had been gaming for 8 hours straight. There seem to be a lot of gamers trying to explain how rude/useless it is to distract people while they are gaming, but how long is someone supposed to wait to interact with a partner? Those are immature gamers. As a gamer and the wife of a gamer, those are BS excuses. It doesn't matter how long he was gaming, but those people would not have cared about that detail. Can't imagine what it would be like to wake up in your 50s and have your teenage children come across a video you made in your 20s, crying that your girlfriend left you because you can't cook or clean for yourself. At the rate it's going, it's doubtful he'll find a girl desperate enough to have kids with him, so that's not likely to happen. Just a suggestion, don't go over to get your stuff alone. He doesn't exactly seem stable. Thanks. You're right, I didn't think about the dangers of that. If you don't have a big, bulky male football-playing friend, or two, you can call the police non-emergency line for an escort. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for firing the wedding planner after she kept ignoring me and only talked to my fiancé and her mom? I'm sorry if this is hard to read. I had a couple of drinks and not in my best state. So my fiancé, female 26, and I, male 28, are getting married soon. We both wanted a nice wedding, but had different ideas but not too much money. My mother-in-law said she has a great wedding planner for us, who's a friend of hers, and we went to see her a few times. Last week, she, my fiancé, her mom, and I began discussing venue/rentals/menu/invitations, etc., etc. The wedding planner kept talking to my fiancé and her mom, and all questions/suggestions were directed at them both while I was sitting there being ignored. They talked venue and guest lists, and the wedding planner did not stop to consult me or ask for my opinion. I disagreed on a number of things, but I was either interrupted or ignored by the lady. I finally snapped, stood up, and told her thank you, but I disagree on everything they agreed on, and told her to cancel all arrangement. My fiancé and her mom asked what's wrong with me. I told them I felt like I was being put aside and left out of any decisions/arrangements despite being the groom and the one paying. My mother-in-law warned me not to turn into a groomzilla and ruined the progress they made just because he wasn't included in a thing or two. I flat out said to hell with it, and that we'll no longer be working with her, and will hire another wedding planner who can treat me like my opinion matters. In other words, I fired her. Both mother-in-law and my fiancé kept arguing in the car on our way home, and my fiancé said good job doing to her what the planner did to me by disregarding her opinions and sending her to square one in wedding planning and costing them money. Mother-in-law was livid that I treated her friend like dirt. I argued back that lady could have included me in at least 1 or 2 arrangements, but didn't. We got at my in-law's house, and my brother-in-law and father-in-law laughed at me for sulking like a kid and witching about stuff that only brides care about. Brother-in-law said he never dreamed of trying to do the childish crap I pulled when he was getting married, called me soft, and told me I should have kept my mouth shut and gone with the flow. Instead, I now made my fiancé and her mom angry, which is a major mess up. I told them both off and went out to smoke. My fiancé says I ruined wedding planning and damaged her mom's relationship by being rude to her friend. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Not today, Hull. But it seems your fiancé also agrees that you shouldn't have a say and just be the pocketbook. I would talk with her and say exactly what you feel. And if she continues to downplay or show you that she doesn't want your input on the wedding, tell her in no uncertain terms that there will be no wedding. If I don't get a say and respect in this, there will not be a wedding. This is my celebration as well, and I have a voice and deserve to be heard. If they can't agree about a wedding, have they discussed children? Any? How many? How they will be raised? How about finances? Where they want to live? What type of home? And so many other things. In the whole scheme of things, a wedding is such a small portion of their life. And if his future wife dismissed his opinions and feelings on his wedding too, will she do the same for the rest of their lives together, or will he always be the pocketbook? If these questions have not yet been discussed and agreed on, then the whole wedding planning needs to be put on hold. Marriage is a partnership, and their wedding should be a celebration for their union, not a source of a major conflict between them. They need to discuss everything and go forward together as equal partners, or this marriage is doomed to fail before it even begins. Not today, Hull. Don't worry, the mother-in-law and wife will make all the decisions. Not today, Hull. Honestly, get out now. Why would you make yourself miserable for as long as this marriage is going to last? And if you have kids, you will be dealing with this for the rest of your life. You deserve better than this. Not today, Hull. It's not just your fiancé's wedding. It's your wedding too. The fact that they tried to do things without you is unfair to you. I think y'all should hire a wedding planner that will talk to you both and not just one or the other. Why even let him come with you to the meeting? Did they just want a free ride? Not today, Hull. Plus getting major red flag vibes from both the fiancé and future mother-in-law. When my wife and I were planning out our wedding, we used a similar concept to baby naming. The 2 yes, 1 no philosophy. Both had to agree to any major aspects, but only one no was required to veto something. Yes, we butted heads a few times. Who doesn't? But ultimately, it was a lovely and very memorable day. Not today, Hull. So why are you two getting married? Because you're surrounded by a-holes. I'd get my ring back, walk out the door, and keep going. Agreed. Does he think this behavior is gonna stop with the wedding? Wait for the kids thing, and why aren't you having more kids thing? Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for paying off my fiancé's student loan debt but not my sister's? Didn't realize this would become an issue until it was. So I, 28 male, have been with my fiancé, 29 female, since we were in high school, almost 12 years. She has been my rock, and I wouldn't be there where I am today if it wasn't for her. She was with me through my drinking problem despite the messed up things I did, and basically being a lost cause. Then supported me while I tried to get sober. When I went back to school, she kicked my butt into gear to get my bachelor's. Now I'm working a full-time office job and earn the type of living I never thought I would. I really wouldn't have made it where I am if it hadn't been for her unwavering support. I made an investment in an old property a buddy of mine owned that we fixed up and earned a decent profit off it. So just to finally give her a really big thanks for always being my biggest supporter, I decided to surprise my fiancé and gave her the amount she needs to pay off what she owes. She was really happy and relieved over it. And honestly, I was glad to be doing something huge for her. She made a sweet post about it on Facebook, and that's how my sister found out. She even commented, "Wow, didn't think of your own sister, brother?" My fiancé showed me the comment, and we both thought she was joking around. A few weeks later, she comes by our place. Turns out she was in fact bothered by the whole thing. Yes, in the past she's talked about how much of a struggle it is sometimes keeping up with bills. And so to her, it would have been nice to be thought of too, since she has her own student loans to pay off. It turned into a whole thing with her, and I'm unsure if I'm the a-hole. Because honestly, she didn't cross my mind at all when I decided on doing it, despite the fact that she has brought it up in the past. My fiancé has paid off what she owes already, so it's not like we can split it and give my sister a cut as well. The amount left was put into our baby fund. So she's even more mad that I just didn't think about her at all when it came to my gift. She thinks I was thoughtless, and simply didn't care to do her this favor. So that's why she thinks I was a a-hole brother. I just wanted to check in here to ask if she's right. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. It's your money and no one else can tell you what to do with it. I honestly find it pretty bizarre that she would expect you to pay for that. You're not her parent. Also, it's a gift. Opie gets to decide to whom he wants to give a gift and to whom not. She can't/shouldn't demand gifts from anyone. It's a very entitled reaction. If you have to ask for something, then it ceases to be a gift. It becomes a demand. It's also his fiancée, but they're about to combine their wealth and debts. It's almost paying off his own debt. Not today, Hal. Your fiancé got you through a really rough time. Neither of you having debt is good for your financial future as a couple. Money your fiancé earns can now be focused on spending for things like a place to live, retirement savings, children, etc. Your sister is not entitled to your money. I'd add to this list, living debt-free for a time enables you to help friends and family later, if you so choose, without negatively impacting your own momentum. Not today, Hal. Is your sister serious? Your fiancé has been with you through thick and thin, supported you through hard times and got yourself up. And now look at yourself. Congratulations. You did work too, and you can spend your money any way you see fit. You don't owe your sister a dime. She can work and pay off her student loans herself. Marry that fiancé ASAP. She's the one. Not today, Hal. Info. Do your sister and fiancé get along? If they don't, maybe it's a jealousy issue. You are starting a life with your fiancé. Her debts would become your debt. It's way better investment for all of you to pay off debt that is going to affect both of you in the long run. They've never had any issues and get along fine. Honestly, that didn't come to mind when I thought of the gift, but good point. It'll still be a while until we're actually married. Update. Everything my mother, 46 female, told me, 17 female, is a lie. Original story. My mother, Canadian, and my father, American, got married young, had me, and then several years later, divorced. My mother took me back to Canada and I lived there from 2 to 16. I saw my grandparents, paternal, but only occasionally saw my father. She hauled him into court numerous times, suing him on both sides of the border. In my mind, my father was a screw-up, and I really hated him, but loved his parents. My whole life, my parents were never in the same room. I saw my father 1 to 2 times a year, sometimes only for a couple of days. My mother warned me what an idiot and a tool he is, and I resented him. They were costly in court. My mom told me he never paid what he owed. My mother said he never paid spousal support, which is why we were so friggin' poor. He couldn't cook. He was a leech. It was so bad that I couldn't talk with my grandparents about him because it would start a fight. I don't think I was ever happy to see my dad, and I kinda liked that it hurt him, just like he was hurting my mom. Eventually, I just stopped seeing him. Jump to May, and my mom tells me she wants me to renew my US passport and move in with my dad. She and my stepfather are doing a road trip from Nova Scotia to Tofino. So I packed my bags, fly to the US and moved in with my dad. Immediately, my alarm bells go off. My father's talking about starting school here, and I keep trying to tell him no. He gets my mother on the phone, who then tells me the truth, that my stepdad doesn't want a teen girl in the house because of the temptation. So I am living here forever. My mother quit her job, is selling her stuff and taking up with him, and I'm out. I've been here since June, and nothing my mother ever told me about my father is true. At first, it was little things. He can totally cook, and isn't a complete numbskull like she told me. He has a really interesting job that I had never even heard of. This whole family's like the Brady Bunch. My father has a great job. My stepmother runs her family business, and I have a younger sister and 2 brothers. My father kept photos of me. My father has items my mom and Nana sent him, and I'm just so angry that nothing was the truth. I was terrified to come here because of what my mom told me about the crime. It isn't true at all. My mom warned me about the food. Again, nothing is true. My whole life was one big BS. So I asked my dad why did pay spousal support, and my stepmom cleared it up. They did pay child support. My mom got remarried twice, and so the courts rejected her claims, which she also lied about. I'm so far from home that I barely know anymore. My mom is gone with some biker tool. My dad is lovely. My stepmom is lovely. My dad put me in a tiny private school where my class welcomed me and made gifts and brought me things. Still, I'm so angry. I just want to scream. Is it bad that I crawled into my bed with my stepmom and cried? I don't know how health insurance works or if we even have any, so I don't want to ask for a therapist. My dad is already taking me to get my teeth fixed. I'm mad at him for not getting me out of there sooner. My tooth hurts, but I don't know how all that works. I want to scream in my mother's face. I want to ask her why she lied for years. We lived in an awful apartment in Halifax. Where did all the money go? She lied about every single thing. No one took me seriously. No one seemed to care, and I want to know why she did this. Now I'm tempting for a creep, so I'm gone? I'm so lost. I want to ask my father about everything, but I'm terrified of the answer. Now I'm worried I'll have to go back to my mother. How do I repair things with my dad? How do I let my mother know what a horrible human she is? Has anyone ever had a toxic parent like this? Now for the top advice before reading the update. I don't know how health insurance works or if we even have any, so I don't want to ask for a therapist. We've established that your dad is a good dad, as difficult as that may be to internalize after all your mother's lies. If you tell him you need to see a therapist, I'm 100% sure he will help you figure that out. And hopefully that person can help guide you through conversations with him about what you've been through and where the two of you go from here. As for your mom, I don't think you need to say anything to her, unless she pulls a 180 and wants you back in her life. At which point you can tell her that's not happening. Maybe write her a letter at some point if you feel the need to put a formal cap on the relationship, but that can wait. For now, just focus on you. And I guarantee if they're well off the way Opie says, he has insurance. Taking Opie to get her teeth fixed means they likely have dental as well. It should be a breeze to get into therapy. They seem like stable people who would be very supportive of that. Definitely talk to your dad about therapy, Opie. You'll be okay. She'll pull a 180 when the creep leaves her. Then she'll go on and on about how important Opie is. How she never wanted to leave her, but felt she had to protect her, etc. Sweetie, if your dad can afford to put you in private school, then you probably have pretty good insurance. It's okay to ask for a therapist, and it's okay for you to be angry at your mom. For that matter, the private school probably has at least semi-decent counseling services. You could start there and ask if they can help you talk to your dad about the need for more specialized professional support if you're nervous to have that conversation on your own. My stepdad doesn't want a teen girl in the house because of the temptation, so I'm living here forever. What the actual heck? He actually told your mom that? And she's still with his creep? That is disgusting. He is basically saying he can't resist the temptation of violating you. That is the most awful thing I have heard. And your mom kicked you out because of it? Not him? Wow. I'm so sorry. It sounds like your mom makes horrible choices and has lied to you about things. It is totally unfair and of course painful. Unfortunately, many people have to deal with messed up parents, but I'm glad you have a good dad and stepmom. When you are ready, I think you should confront her, but I think for now you need to focus on you. Cry. Grieve the loss of the mom you thought you had. Focus on taking care of yourself. When you are done grieving, focus on making your life good. Yes, your mom is a mess, but you are not. You can have a great life despite all this. I'm sorry you have to deal with this. I think the more distance you keep from your mom, the better. Am I the only one who immediately thinks that mom is lying about this because in her own messed up way of thinking, by sending Opie off, she won't have competition from her daughter for the affection of her new husband? Obviously, she doesn't care that her daughter lives in poverty, is poorly provided for, and is alienated from her biological father, so a further lie is not out of character. And she is acting as if she's protecting Opie. Furthermore, if the new spouse is actually a pedo, the last thing he would do is to broadcast what he really wants. It would be beneficial to him to stay under the radar to get close to the victim/Opie. I wasn't thinking that until you just said it. To be fair, I really don't know this man. We never spent time together. Now I don't know what to think. And now for the update. It's been a little while since I wrote to you. I read every message and then was going to respond, but it got locked. I wanted to tell you all what happened. It has been really crazy. After my post was taken down, I went to speak to my stepmom, and she asked me to wait for my dad. We sat down and I just let it all out. I explained everything. It went through everything that had been happening. I told them that I was scared of where we were living and that I needed help. but I was worried about insurance and money. I told him that I felt sick all the time. It was starting to lose my mind that my stomach burned, but I felt like I was going to throw up all the time. Saying all that really started to change things. When I first got there, my dad never mentioned my mom or discussed what happened. It felt crazy. I knew my mom's version of events, but I kept realizing that was mostly untrue and nothing made sense. My dad never provided context or any more information, so I was just left knowing everything was wrong. So my dad answered every question I had. He explained things from his perspective, and stepmom backed things up with letters, documents, and other things. I'd always wondered why my dad didn't love me or my mom, why he left and why things were so bad between them. When I would see him, we never discussed my mom. We tried to enjoy the time we had together, but I was curious and asked a lot and he avoided it. I guess because he avoided the subject, I figured it was all true. We were dirt poor, and he didn't seem to care. Now that I have the other side of the story and see what happened, very little of what my mom said is at all true. To help push me along, my stepmom arranged for me to get help. My stepmom took me to see a doctor and get a checkup. He was really caring and concerned and helped me learn about options and services. He referred me to a therapist and I've already seen her twice. She's great. She's positive and helpful. She took everything I had to say. It has been helping me find ways of managing stress. I went to the dentist, which I hadn't been to one in years, and all my tooth and jaw pain is getting much better. I had medical tests because of my stomach issues, which was strange. It seems like I'm okay. I'm not sick or anything, and a lot of everything can be explained by stress. My dad took me to the school principal's office. The school counselor, principal, me, and my dad all met. They were very understanding about everything. And on top of seeing a therapist, they have a counselor at my disposal for additional support if I'm in crisis at school. So far, school is going great. It's more demanding than my old school, but the teacher seems to really care. And I find the small sizes really great. I have a tutor helping me catch up in math, and I feel better about how well I can do. I am adjusting to life here. It's certainly hotter and bigger than I'm used to. It's not really what you'd expect. I guess I didn't know what to expect when I came here. I was told it's scary and dangerous, and so far it's anything but. We've hiked trails and gone to various parts of the city. I've tried authentic Mexican cuisine and had famous fast food like In-N-Out. I tried barbecue for the first time, which is so good and so not what I had thought. Life is very, very different than it is portrayed on TV. I even met my very first Trump supporter, which was totally not what I expected. All in all, it's not at all what people would think. People are really kind, and so far, things are much more positive. I'm a bit older than my siblings, but things are good between us. I was always told that my dad was lazy and poor. It's the opposite. Both my parents have good jobs, and money isn't really an issue. I realize my mom put a lot of her financial burden on me. My parents here are good at being reassuring, and don't really discuss problems or issues with me. My siblings and I are getting along well, and they show me a lot of things, and we've done a lot of things as a family, which is also new for me. As for my mom, she called randomly to see how I was adjusting. I went about as bad as you could imagine. They were somewhere riding around or whatever, and we talked for a few minutes. She could sense I was angry, so she hung up. When she did call back a couple of days later, she got mad at me, told me I was an ungrateful witch for everything, and that I was toxic. I told her I never wanted to see her again. I have learned that my mother put this plan of me moving in action before she hooked up with her current partner. I guess the money's running out, and I was no longer of any use. She called me back again, but my stepmom took the call. I could hear my mom drunk yelling, so I think my time living with my mom is over. My mom had put things into emails that my father has kept as evidence. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but I don't think my mother and I will ever be together again. It makes me sad. I feel like she dumped me for no reason. She always told me how difficult and unpleasant I am, and she picked on me in a lot of things I couldn't control. I don't feel the same here. My parents don't criticize me, and I feel less stressed out for just existing. My parents bought me all new stuff, so I feel like I have things of my own. I know it sounds crazy, but it makes me feel connected to something. I'm still angry and annoyed. I'm still really mad at my mom, and if I think about it, I get overwhelmed. I still don't get why she did what she did, and I don't understand why she doesn't love me. I also kind of miss her sometimes. I wanted to follow up with everyone because so many people commented and gave me great advice. I wanted to tell you that I'm doing better. It was crazy, and I never saw so many doctors and nurses so much in my life. But But I feel better now than I have before, and things in my life make a lot more sense than they have ever in my life. I'm happier. I feel like a weight has been lifted. My parents are taking me out of school next Friday, and we're driving to California, and I've never been more excited before in my life. I've always wanted to see California and see the Pacific Ocean. I can't wait. Your dad and stepmom are amazing parents. I'm so glad your mom was not able to poison you against them permanently, and that they got a chance to show you what a loving, caring, and healthy family dynamic looks like. Not gonna lie, I have tears in my eyes as I have never had a caring father, and he wouldn't do anything for me. I'm very happy for you. You are in a beautiful age with lots of opportunities. Good luck. Having a real understanding person with no agenda who can be a father figure in your life might help. I'm a pseudo dad to 3 girls, none of whom I'm related to, and I just step in as dad when I'm needed. I give them advice. I try to help them understand why their families were how they were. I turn up in the early hours of the morning when I get calls because they've broken down with panic in a nightclub. I do dad things. I love them all, and I think they love me for coming through on the deeds instead of just saying the words. It would make each other better people. So what was your dad's side of the story? If you don't mind going through it, I'm just curious exactly how far your mother's account deviated from reality. No worries if you'd rather not get into it. Overall, I'm glad you are safe now, and wish you luck working through your childhood. Your mom sucks all on her own, and none of this is your fault. Oh man. So basically my mom got pregnant on vacation. She went back to Canada with an eye of moving to be with my dad. She changed her mind, and what ensued was 17 years of lawsuits. My mom got married, stepdad number 1, then he left. She got divorced and remarried number 2. That was the lowest period. My mother was suing my father, and so I didn't see him for over a year. From my father's end, he was trying to get fair access to see me, but then things would get tied up in court and we couldn't. Between like 12 and 15, I only see him maybe once a year. He talked a lot about how he missed me and showed me emails and letters sent via lawyers. My mom is dirt poor but was getting money, so I have no idea why we were so broke. Basically, my mom used the courts to keep my dad at a distance, and my dad spent years trying to fight back. Now that I'm here, I have to figure out this whole new way of handling what I thought was a bad dad. My friend had a Canadian girlfriend and she got pregnant. She went back to Canada and broke up with him. After years, he gave up getting any custody or visitation rights. Because he wasn't Canadian, it was very, very difficult. I believe your dad after seeing what my friend went through. In a way, it makes me feel horrible. The courts let my mother keep my father from me. They protected her and punished him. And for what? So I could live in a crappy apartment with an alcoholic? I'm pissed at that.